Ever since its infancy, player punishments have occurred on 2B2T. They are often rare, only happening in extreme cases such as game-breaking lag exploits or crash exploits. However, in some instances, players have been muted, had their party queue taken away, and even killed by the owner of 2B2T, Housemaster. Today in this video, I'll be telling you the stories of these player punishments and if they happen up to this day. The first instance of players being punished was during the time of Bombsquadbh's backdoor. In early 2012, a server-side plugin was created by Bombsquadbh to help players from being stuck above the roof in the Nether. Unbeknownst to Housemaster, Bombsquadbh implemented a code in a plugin to grant him and his friends server operator permissions, allowing them to access any block in the game. Eventually, Bombsquadbh obtained end portal frames and attempted to create an end portal under NFE, an infamous town on the server led by XCC2. The portal didn't work since Bombsquadbh placed the frames incorrectly and abandoned it. A few months later, XCC2 stumbled upon a stack of end frames in a chest and decided to rebuild the entire stronghold under NFE, and it worked. As more end portals were created artificially around the server, players started to use this to their advantage. The player X0XP and his friends had a plan to remove and disable end portals throughout the server so they could keep it to themselves and remove the whole end island to make their own private end city. However, Housemaster decided to reset the entire end dimension and then remove duped dragon eggs and endstone in the overworld about a year later. For a while, no punishments were given out until 2014. In 2014, one of the first instances of Housemaster muting players was through chat spamming. When a player sent messages in chat, there was a probability that a word in the message would be swapped with something else, and if there was multiple instances of the same word, they will all be swapped. For example, if someone typed "when," "I'm dumb but I think that," and then spammed when, there would be a chance of these messages getting filtered. The result was a message that was way longer than the character that surprisingly didn't get cut off and created a huge wall of text. It would look something like this: "I'm dumb but I think I am dumb but I think I am dumb but I think that," and so forth. One day, a player named Victor96 was spamming chats and getting his messages filtered left and right, which was just another day on 2B2T for him. However, this day was different. Housemaster happened to be online through the server's console and saw his messages. He would usually type through the console as server and was rarely online as an actual account. Victor96 and Housemaster would have a conversation, but reading the exact conversation would most likely get me demonetized, so I'll try my best to phrase the words. Housemaster would message Victor and said, "Vic, that's not how it works. It doesn't matter if you send one more, it's the same probability." Victor96 would respond back, "Obviously, House, that's not what I'm trying to do." Victor would try to explain what he was doing, but as Vic put it, his explanation went through Housemaster's one ear and out the other. Victor tried to explain it to him again, but House eventually got annoyed and muted Vic for an hour. This wasn't the first or last time House would mute players. In 2015, Housemaster would continue to mute players for spamming. The players James Russells and Victor96 were spamming in chat, and, as a joke, Housemaster would call them Chinese bots. These mutes went on for hours, and were simply as a joke. In late 2016, a player named Terragadude had his veteran queue manually removed by the camping rusher and Curtis since a hacker hacked into their friend LandMC's Skype and Minecraft accounts, and then Terragadude posted a video of logging into their accounts and bed trapping them. Since the camping rusher thought Toro was involved with the hacking, they decided to take his veteran queue away. This caused extreme outrage throughout the community, starting the hashtag #FreeToro movement. Following the backlash, Terragadude's veteran queue access was given back, and the camping rusher explained what happened in a video. Throughout early 2017, powerful lag machines were used frequently to drop the ticks per second on the server. At the time, Housemaster was relatively inactive, so no action was taken, and the machines were used for months without being removed. In July, Housemaster started to take action by deleting the lag machines. Two of these lag machines were named Carolina 2.0 and 3.0, which were used by Armorsmith and House 1. Carolina 2.0 was created by Armorsmith, Official Speed, and the Porkchop _ and it was eventually deleted by Housemaster. Carolina 3.0 was created by Armorsmith and House 1 a few months later and brought the server down to 0.5 ticks per second. Keep in mind, the average ticks per second for a Minecraft server is 20, so when the TPS was that low, it was nearly impossible to play on 2-bit 2T. This lag machine was deleted on Christmas by Housemaster. In late 2017, a player named Griffs, who also created lag machines, had his veteran queue removed, but unlike the Taragadude incident, this didn't cause as much community outrage since players were annoyed by the lag and thought it was justified. For about a year and a half, more players would create lag machines, and House would delete them. However, these punishments were small compared to what I'll talk about now. Around the end of 2018, Housemaster would remove region files from a base. The players GSmack and ScholarG created a base called 4,000,000,6,000,000, or 4M6M for short. This base had no chunk trail and housed all of the rare and stacked items from 2016 to 2018. During this, GSmack brought up the idea to do book ban shulkers. Scholar was extremely against this, but GSmack wanted to, so he let him. GSmack stored them in a chest near their stash, but little did they know, this caused severe lag to the server. One day while Scholar was duping, he used a donkey to fly over to an island, which was his checkpoint of how far to go while duping for it to work, and then the server went down instantly. It stayed down for about 40 to 45 minutes, and when Scholar logged back in, he wanted to continue duping. As he went back to the base, he arrived at nothing. His stash? Gone. His old collectible items? Gone. Half his museum? Gone. Everything was reverted back to its natural state when he arrived. Out of outrage, Scholar and GSmack placed TNT and griefed the rest of the base, leaked the coordinates, saying Housemaster world edited their base, and claimed that 2B2T isn't really anarchy. After they calmed down, Scholar decided to email Housemaster. Dear server owner, I don't care about the items. You knew I was gonna make a Reddit post, or email you. I just want an explanation. Why was my base retrogened and put back to normal chunks? And there's no way it was a corrupt chunk because it was like 28 plus chunks. I am ScholarG. All I want is an explanation. We had no lag machine, nor any attempt to lag the server. This server is supposed to be anarchy, not tyranny. Sincerely, ScholarG and GSmack. Housemaster replied back saying the following. The region file you were in was so large, it was causing complete server freezes. It was cut out and intended to be looked at, but it wasn't even possible to open on a different server, or on my own computer. I don't know what you even managed to do here, but the region file was too far gone, and I couldn't have the server down while I was looking into it. Although, I don't doubt you intentionally did this, and knew the problem it was causing. Once I can edit out whatever is causing the problems, it will be restored, as it was intended to be during the short server downtime. However, Housemaster never did revert back to base. Scholar thinks the fact of Housemaster not being able to load the base on his own computer is a lie. Scholar world downloaded the whole base, and for him, it loaded perfectly on his low-budget laptop at the time. The next punishment is the most intriguing, the story of Housemaster killing players at his own base. In late 2019, a player named 123fly123 was out in the millions when he stumbled across a railway in the middle of nowhere. The chunks were generated in 2012, and they hadn't been loaded since 2013 at the latest. There was a portal at one end, and a sign atop a grass block saying, "Spawn by Housemaster." The overworld revealed an expansive base with clusters of chests that flowed over the landscape. Swastikas and N-word signs, as well as 3 Housemaster books were found there. He spent a while operating the chest, in case there were illegals. At most, he spent no more than a day or two, and was online for a few hours. At some points, 123fly123 went to AFK in a safe place, and upon coming back to his desk, he was at spawn. He didn't think anything of it at the time, and never made the journey out there again. He posted the Housemaster books he found on the Book Archive Discord, and players were amazed, which drew attention to the base. At this point, he had given too much information to the player's 4 pilot and Courier 6, who found the base shortly afterwards. About a day later, 4Pilot contacted 123Fly123 to tell him that he had also been killed, and found himself back at spawn with no death message in his logs or through the server's bot. Death messages were enabled during this time, and after 4Pilot searched the server's bot for 123Fly123, there was also no record of him dying. Being curious, 123Fly123 checked his chat logs and found that his death message was also missing. Around this time, bits of the base began to vanish. At least 3 structures were cut off or completely removed, many of which had containers in them that 123Fly123 had yet to check the contents of. He believes all of the chests that covered the terrain had their contents wiped as well. Clearly this place was something that wasn't supposed to be found, and so by making players disappear, Housemaster could remove it discreetly. On October 12th, 4Pilot would email Housemaster. About a day ago, Courier 6 and I, 4Pilot, showed up to your 2012 base made with your real life friends. I was sitting there AFK. I looked up at my screen. I'm dead. On October 18th, Housemaster would reply back. Hi, I'm not aware of what the 2012 base with real life friends would be. If there was some brief time I was playing years ago and built something, there were never chests filled with every single item in the game, or world edited away. I am also not sure where you are getting the real life friends part from. I'm not sure how you think dying was caused by the server in secret. Do you think there was some sort of system set up that detects a player in an area on the server that proceeds to wake me up just to check on it, or something like this? Please realize how silly your suggestion sounds. You can provide coordinates to the base you found that you think I made, and I can check it out and perhaps give you an answer. Even when 123Fly123 found 3 books signed by Housemaster, chunks of the base started to disappear, and players mysteriously died with no death messages. Housemaster denies even knowing about this base. Either this was not the same Housemaster from 2012 replying, or he was lying. On October 26, a 2B2T YouTuber named Barondome created a video showcasing the base and exploring the removed chunks of the base. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. The next event was a few weeks later. A club was created that would eventually ban hundreds of players. This club was called the Book Club. It all started when a player named Carl thought it would be a funny idea to recreate the entire Bible on 2B2T. This took him a few hours with a mod known as BookBot. After storing the 13 shulkers of the Bible in a double chest, the player Redstoner 2B2T, who was a basemate, opened the chest and discovered the server would come to a halt. This was the result of a plugin Housemaster made months before to stop book banning. Redstoner then kept opening the chest until the server crashed. For 23 hours, the server would crash constantly. Out of desperation, Housemaster removed the book ban patch to stop the crashing. When this patch was removed, the account with the Bible in its inventory got book banned. Redstoner would then tell his old friend House1 about the return of book banning. Party queue was beginning to rise since the YouTuber and streamer Etika joined the server in early 2019, and for the book club, this was seen as a perfect opportunity to wreak havoc on new players. Chambers were built at Nether Spawn where new players would come through portals. The machine would use experience orbs to detect a victim coming through and instantly spewed out book ban shulkers to ban them. The group would wander around Spawn and toss the books and shulkers to new players and name the shulkers something like Bedrock or Fitz Head, and they would go nuts and open it. After opening it, they would be instantly kicked from the server and not be able to join again. On October 30th, 2019, book banning was patched by Housemaster when he disabled the MBT tag of shulker boxes, which also patched a hack module called .peak and other shulker preview mods. The next day, it was Halloween, but the group didn't get any treats. 15 members of the book club had their party queue removed and were banned from the donation website. Some of the banned players had no involvement in lagging the server or book banning players, and some players who were involved in the lagging didn't get their priority queue banned. This led many players into believing that Housemaster was inside the book club Discord, since only those who had their Discord name set to their in-game name were banned. A riot started, and many players flooded House's email, forcing him to unban everyone he banned. This gave birth to No Server November, a parody of No Nut November, where book club members had to crash the server every day of November. For the beginning of No Server November, the leader House1 designed a lag machine that involved large amounts of redstone dust platforms and observer clocks powering them. This machine could take the TPS to less than 0.6 with enough layers. Housemaster disabled redstone clocks in order to combat this lag machine, which made it so the observers would automatically break when you activated the lag machine. The other design for a lag machine they used involved large amounts of sand. They used a method to keep the sand as a floating block. This lag machine, like the one before, was also extremely powerful. It was able to take the TPS to about 2, with a bit more than 5,000 floating sand. Other than lag machines, they also used an exploit that they called snow cones, or masking players in order to skip the server's queue. They skipped the normal queue on already banned accounts, so they can build lag machines with those accounts again. They constantly crashed the server during peak hours, to the point where it was completely unplayable. Because of the low TPS and the number of times the server had been crashing, players would become frustrated and less active. This reduced the normal queue to a low of 85, and the priority queue was instant for months. Fewer players bought priority queue, which in turn would hurt Housemaster's wallet, so the operation was a success. Housemaster would try to stop them by priority banning members. He banned around 9 players, but this didn't stop them. On November 26, 2019, every player on the priority ban list was cleared, except for the players 0x22, Paralusion 2, and DQWN Syndrome. In 2020, players who created lag machines will still get their priority queue banned. Members of the Brown Men, which was a splinter group of the book club, experimented with using priority bans as weapons against other players. They started to build lag machines near spawn, including a redesigned falling sand machine with over 50,000 entities. It caused the server to go to a low TPS very quickly, which also completely froze the client of whoever came near it to hopefully keep victims there long enough to be banned. It was used under nether highways near spawn and possibly banned some players, but it was impossible to figure out who entered the area. Around July 2020, Housemaster unpatched Skylight Lag, which allowed anyone with a pickaxe at spawn to be able to crash the server utilizing the obsidian roof. Redstoner decided to build machines around spawn that constantly caused Skylight Lag and brought the TPS to around 1. Players who entered the chunks got priority banned within minutes, and an estimated 20 to 30 players got banned or kicked. A 2B2T YouTuber and streamer named JakeTheSnake52 was near spawn when Redstoner was priority banning players. He invited Jake over to show what was happening. Redstoner then started Skylight lagging, and not soon after, Jake and Redstoner and another player with Jake got banned all at once. This proved that priority bans could be used as weapons. The next day, Housemaster removed all bans, fearing that other innocent players might have been banned. When November struck, it was time for No Server November to begin. This time, the event was more organized and had a large public Discord server. They were more prepared, as they had a design for a lag machine, a queue skip, and a boats exploit that allowed them to kick players. At the beginning of the month, they sent a list of demands to Housemaster and said that they would stop the lag if he agreed to the demands. Most of their demands were about the server not being vanilla and the countless problems the server had over the years. Housemaster did end up fixing some broken vanilla features, including Elytra, and he removed all priority queue bans, but many of the demands were not met. They had multiple tactics for this year. Their boat kick exploit used boats to kick players from the server, with more than 500 boat bans recorded. When the player stood for a few seconds on more than 5 boats, the server believed they were flying and kicked them. This worked since Housemaster disabled /kill, so players could not escape. The initial lag machine the group wanted to use in November stopped working on day 1, as Housemaster disabled redstone clocks. On the 13th of November, the players Redstoner 2B2T and Steve3 managed to find a new design for a lag machine, involving a massive amount of slime blocks and zero-tick pistons. They called it the EMP machine. With this machine, they managed to lag the server to the point where it completely stopped. The server went from 20 TPS to 0 TPS in 1 tick. Housemaster had to shut down the server every time to unfreeze it. For queue skipping, they ran a queue skip service in a No Server November Discord for players who had banned accounts or didn't want to pay Housemaster. It ran every few hours, and lots of players got into the queue when it was announced. When started, it would skip a player 50 to 100 spots at a time, taking around 5 minutes to get through normal queue, and less than 1 minute to get through priority queue. Players queue skipping had to spam /queue main into their chat to avoid being kicked. In the middle of November, Housemaster patched their queue skip, but they managed to come with a new one at the end of November. Housemaster had some tricks up his sleeve. During the beginning of No Server November, he created a blacklist. If a player had their account or IP prio banned during that month, House added them to a blacklist. At any time the server started lagging, anyone in that list that was online would be kicked, even if there wasn't a lag machine. He would also kick those accounts from queue, while non-blacklisted accounts on another instance of Minecraft would stay fine. He also began temporarily muting spammers in chats who promoted or advertised Discord servers, or just spammed in chats. On November 24th, Housemaster removed all priority bans, except for the players 0x22, Paralusion 2, and DQWN Syndrome. This was because Housemaster was under investigation by PayPal. On December 3rd, Housemaster's PayPal account was suspended, and nobody could buy priority queue. This ended No Server November 2020, and they declared victory. Today, Housemaster still punishes players, but is it justified? Some say that with the amount of plugins, priority banning, muting, and other punishments, that 2b2t is not true anarchy. If it was true anarchy, the server would be unplayable from all the lag machines. With no plugins, players would be able to fly around the server at fast speeds, lowering the TPS dramatically. Super weapons would still be able to be wielded, chunk banning will never be removed, so there will be areas all over the world that if you wander into it, you'll never be able to return. So, is it justified for Housemaster to punish players and keep the server not true anarchy? I'll leave that for you to decide. Thanks for watching. I would like to thank XCC2, X0XP, Gujan, James Russells, Romtech, Victor96, Armorsmith, Scholar G, 123fly123, Redstoner 2b2t, 4second, 4pilot, Jacktherippa, and the 2b2t wiki for the information in this video. I would also like to thank TheConmeister, Sunglasses, Alouneri, VillagerFilms, Bombsquadbh, Canatome5, and finnthehumanlol for being the actors in this video. Leave a like, and maybe consider subscribing for more information like this in the future. Anyway guys, stay fast, and see you guys next time.